The username for my IT Lab is going to be your full email address, so make sure you put that in. Go to the to-do list. There's the part 1 training. Do that on your own. That's going to go through Word, Excel, Access, and PowerPoint, just to give you an introduction to that. We'll go step by step. After that, you go through part 1 of the chapter. Part 2 of chapter 1, and this is the page that it's on. You can go through this part in the book. It's going to take you step by step through those activities. And then we have the grader assignments. There's 2 due. Today, for the lecture, I'm going to do this first grader project with you. And then I'm going to show you in the grader projects, if you get stuck, where to find the information in the book. Okay? So go ahead. Is everybody here? Anybody not get into my IT Lab? Very good. Okay. Go ahead and click there, and we'll start that. This is where you'll want to have your flash drive on these computers. Save it to your flash drive, your OneDrive. We will finish it today in class. If you save it to the desktop, save it, submit it, delete it off of the desktop when you're finished. So I'm going to save mine to the desktop. You're welcome to. Just make sure you delete it when you leave, so no one gets a hold of it and turns it in, because the software will tell me if you turn in someone else's work. And like I said, most of the time it's by mistake, but either way we have to flag it as an integrity violation. So go ahead and click where it says download files. And there's always at least 2 for this. We have the instructions and then the grader project. So just click on the little down arrow there. And then we want to save the file. Click OK. Do the same thing to the grader. Press the down arrow and click Save. Now once you're in Firefox, it automatically downloads it to the Downloads folder. So if we close this window, minimize this one, and this one, to where you find the little arrow all the way up at the top. Press the down arrow there, and you should see them right here. Press the folder beside it, so it'll open up the folder that these items downloaded to. So press that, and you'll see it. Yep.
Is it okay to use Chrome? Because I don't have Firefox.
Yeah. There's no Firefox
Yes,
on
sir.
that? Where, on this computer?
Yes, sir.
That's fine. This project, it really doesn't matter that much. The training assignments is where it really matters.
All right.
Because this project, we're not really working in the software, we're downloading the files. So that's fine. As long as you have to download. So see, here's the instructions. I'm just going to drag it over to desktop. Then there should be an Excel file. There's a lot of stuff downloaded on this computer. So I'm going to look for it today. I'm going to actually sort by the date modified. Clicking here. There's a 13. So there it is right there. Then I can drag it to the desktop. So then I want to find my files. Where are they? Here's one, and here's the other. Okay. Everybody have those? Yes. You have. Okay, go ahead, open up the instructions and then the Excel file. Instructions look like this. Always enable the editing, because if not, it looks kind of strange. You have to scroll this way. So enable the editing so it looks like an editable Word document. So minimize that and then open up the Excel sheet. And again, enable the editing there because if you don't, it won't save any of your changes. So enable that. And here's what I like to do when I'm working with these. Notice there's two different applications and you have to flip back and forth. I like to adjust the screen. So I'll press the Cascade button on the window, which is the button right next to the left of the X. If you press that, then you can adjust the screen. So I'll put this here, then I'll open up my Word document, do the same thing, and I'll shrink it down because all you need to see is one step at a time. So if I shrink it down here, then I can scroll through the steps. And it pretty much locks it at the bottom down there. Then I have plenty of room to work with my Excel. And then I can just scroll through the steps here, make changes, scroll back through. It makes it easy to work with. Yes?
Is there any way that that light right above the projector, like, is it half or?
Let's try. Is that what's making it? Does that help at all? This one goes out. Does that help at all? Is that too dark? Too dark? I won't ruin anyone's eyes. Let me see if I can still see the. Hey, that makes that work better. Okay, great. Okay, just don't fall asleep. Okay, good. Everybody here? We got, you put it side by side or however. Okay, good. So if we look at the top of the instructions, it gives you project description. Sometimes this helps to understand what it is that you're about to create. So summary total for the retail store. We're going to calculate the values for the categories and set the percentage, the total quantities, and add and subtract the amounts for the layaway. So here's the first step. It says start Excel 2013 and open the downloaded file, which we've already done. We have it right here. So step 1 is complete. 2, it says add the file name in the worksheet in the left footer, return to normal view. If you are unsure of how to do that, if you look at the very first chapter, there's a list right here of the description of the different skills. So it's right here in the blue section of the book. It says file name in the worksheet, so you look down. There's one for footers and page settings, skill number 9. Flip through the skill 9. And then 9 gives you step-by-step instructions on how to do it. It's on page 48 in the book. Okay? So that's how you will find, with these instructions, if you're lost, how to actually complete the task. Okay, let's add the file name to the worksheet, and then it says return to normal view. There's your keyword, return to normal view, which means you need to use the view button. Now, before I go a little further, how many of you have never seen Excel before? A couple of you. Okay, so let me go through a quick run through of Excel. At the very, very top, the top left, That's called your quick access toolbar. You see where it says the little disk is, and this is the quick save button. If you need to save it, you just click right there and it'll save it. The button next to it is an undo button. If you make a mistake there, just click that button and it'll reverse your last activity. The button to the right that's pointing to the right is a redo button. And then the button over here creates a new document. This is called your quick access bar. Some of the activities will have you edit that. That's what it means there. As you look down where it says home, insert, and page layout, those are considered tabs. You'll see it say home tab, insert tab, page layout tab. You click through those and then you get different options here. This big section right here is called a ribbon. That's where all of your commands are. The ribbons are broken into categories, or groups is what the book says. So if you look here, if I click on insert, see down here it says tables, and this one says add-ins and charts. This is the tables group. So you'll see instructions in the book say, click the insert tab, and in the tables group, click table. So that's what it means. Insert tab, tables group, table. Okay? And there's charts and reports and sparklines. Down below, this is your function bar, or you'll see it referred to as the function bar or the formulas bar, either one of those two. If you click in there, whatever cell you're in, you'll type that information. This is a function button, which takes you to different formulas that you can use when you're creating them. We'll use that some. When you're working with large formulas, in order to accept the cell without changing the cell, and I'll show you that a little later, the check mark accepts your formula entry in the cell and calculates that, and then the X, of course, cancels. Over here is called your name box. See where it says B32? That's the location of your selection. So this is saying B32, so if I look here, that's where my current active cell is. Excel is broken as a chart, and the rows are called columns. I'm sorry, the columns are lettered A all the way through. After it reaches Z, it starts doubling A, B, things like that. Those are columns, and then the rows have numbers, rows 1 through what have you. The intersection of a column and a row is called a cell. So if you see, once we've clicked it, you can go ahead and click around. If you click on one, that's called making the cell active. And notice that the column is highlighted as well as the row. If you look in the name box, it puts it together. So that's how Excel shows you a location, through column letter and then the row number. So it's kind of like, anyone play Battleship? Digital Battleship, what have you? Same thing. It's coordinates is all it is. Coordinates on a grid. Down at the bottom are called sheets. Push the plus, you can add the sheets across here. You'll work with those in a later chapter. There'll be several sheets. This right here, and here is how you navigate, scroll the worksheet up and down, left and right. And then down here are the view buttons. There's normal view, page layout view, print view. And then this is a zoom button. You can take this slider and take it minus, it'll shrink everything down. If you move it towards the plus, it'll blow it up so you can see it. Any questions on Excel's layout? Okay. So let's look at adding the file name in the worksheet left footer. First thing you want to do is go down to the view. If you're not sure what they are, just hold the mouse over it and you'll get what's called a tooltip, and it'll show you what it is. There's page layout, normal view, and then you have the page break preview or print preview. So we have to go to the page layout view. And once you do, notice what happens. We get the ruler across, And then, if you scroll up a little bit, I have to scroll up on mine, you'll see where it says click to add header. And it says we're actually putting it in the footer. So we need to scroll down, headers at the top, footers at the bottom. We scroll down, we have the same thing. It says click to add footer. If you hold the mouse over, the footer actually has 3 sections. Left section, middle section, right section. So it says to worksheet's left footer. So go ahead and click right there. Once you do, notice that your ribbon changes. And also look at the very, very top, we have a new tab. Anytime you click on an object in Excel, you're going to get a new tab for different options for that particular object we've clicked on. So this is the design tab, and look at what all the information we have. Inside the header and footer elements, we can put in different elements. So we don't want to just type in the file name, because if we just typed it in, what happens if we save it as another name? We have to come down and change the footer. So we want to pull it automatically. So that's what all of those in the footer and header elements are for. And there's one that says file name. So just click there. We don't necessarily need to know what that means, but it's going to add the file name to the footer. So you got that? Then it says return to normal view, so go down here and just click back on the normal view. This computer's going to freeze. Click away. Oh, you got to click away first. Click out of the footer. Click if you're editing the footer, click somewhere in the document. One, it'll check to make sure that it's pulling the file name, and then you can change your views back. Now we're back to normal view. Okay. Everybody got that one? All right, move on to number 3. It says select the range A1 through H1, then merge and center the text. Okay, you'll see this a lot. This is called a range. A1 is the first cell. When you see the colon, it means everything in between, all the way to H1. So take your mouse first and go to A1. We have to scroll up on mine. A1 is right there. Then you click and drag. Notice it's all the same row, A1, H1. So that means just drag all the way across to H. So click, drag across like this. There's 2 different selections in Excel. One is the big white plus, which just means selecting the cells. The second one is this little black plus, which will fill information in there. We'll get to that a little later. But if it just says to select it, make sure your cursor is this big white plus so you can click and drag. If not, you'll accidentally mess up your spreadsheet. Okay. So select A1 through H1. It says merge and center. If we look on the home tab in the alignment group, there's a button that says merge and center. So just click that button and it breaks all of the columns, makes it into one big cell, and then centers the text within that cell. Yes? Question? Scroll up to the top. Go to the design tab. Yep, and then just click in here and change back to normal. Next one, 2 on that, 1 up there. Then scroll up to the top there. Push this little pin so it stays in here. Click away. You must now you're in protected, did you download the zip file? So save it somewhere else, do file, save as. Do file, save as. You have to hit enable name. So then just, okay, now you can file, save as. There's the list. Unless you have one more zip file. Then this is easy. There we go. You have to have. Yeah, that's it. Yep. It doesn't matter on this one, as long as you make sure that you turn in that file. If you guys want to change the file name in this particular project so you know which one is which, my IT lab doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what name it is. As long as you turn in the one that you've been working on, you'll be okay. Okay, good. All right, move on to number 4. It says, again, select the range A2 through H2 and then apply the heading 3 style. So we go to A2 through H2, which is the headings for our spreadsheet. And then it says style is our keyword. So if we look up, there's a styles group. And see there's one that says cell style. So press the down arrow up here. It's in the home tab in the styles group. And if we look, we have several different styles we can choose from. It says heading 3. So just go ahead and click on the heading 3 right there. You guys shout if you have questions. I'm going to just move through it. Don't be afraid to stop me. If I get too fast, stop me, raise your hand, don't get behind on it so we can do this here. Okay, here we go. Selecting the column. It says select columns A and B and adjust the width to 20. Selecting columns is different than selecting the cells. So if we look, it says columns A and B. So take the mouse all the way up to column A and B and look what happens. Gotta click on the worksheet. If you hold it up there, notice you get a down arrow. The mouse turns into a little black down arrow. So you can just click and drag over when the mouse turns to a down arrow, and that's going to select the entire column. And then it says adjust the width to 20. Several different ways to do it. I like to teach the right-click method. So keep your mouse right there where it has the down arrow. Every time your mouse is up there and it's pointing down, that means you're adjusting something to do with the column. Okay? So keep the mouse up there now, right-click, and then look, it says column width. Go ahead and click there, and then it says change it to 20. So just type in 20. There's several different ways to do it, and you can sloppily move the mouse back and forth. But when you start working with the simulators, it's a little bit harder to get precise. So that's why I always teach the column width method. Okay. Press OK there, and it automatically adjusts it. Go ahead and click up here the quick save button and save your work so we don't lose it. So there's 5. We're halfway through the project. Slide down. Number 6 says, in cell F3, enter a formula that adds the values in the cells D3 and E3. So click, yes. Oh, if you didn't change back to normal view, it'll do that. Go down to your view button. catch you. Did you save it? Okay, now right, go back up, select, right click. I think it might be just the nothing, it's just hit the save button. Try to minimize. Just minimize the whole thing. And open it back up. Where'd you save that? Is it on the desktop? Yeah, if you guys, mine came up too. If your updates are coming up, hit the postpone for 4 hours, or you're gonna have to wait a month to move. Mine did it this morning. They should have that stuff turned off, but if it comes up, postpone it 4 hours and hit postpone. If you reboot it, you might have to try to catch up, because I can't, we won't make it through if I stop. We'll have to just move on with it looking strange. So close this. Go ahead and close it. And then open it back up again. There we go. It was just a refresh on the screen or something. Good. Anyone else? All right, well, move. All right, cell F3, but watch up here if your computer did reboot, so that way you know what to, yes. Did you have a question?
Yeah, like give it a shot.
Okay, yeah, just watch up so you'll know what to do to catch up. We're almost finished, so I may be able to catch you up with it when I finish here. In cell F3, enter a formula that adds the value. Now, when it says enter a formula and it doesn't have the range, all you do is just type the information in. So, for example, in a cell, if you are going to enter a formula, you have to enter what's called programming mode. In order to do that, you press equal on the keyboard. So anytime it says formula, you always start with an equal. So press equal, and it says cells B3, D3 and E3. So you just simply type those in. D3, the plus on the keyboard, and E3. It doesn't matter if they're capital or anything else. Capitalization doesn't matter with the formulas. Notice what happens once you type them. It's going to show and make sure that this is the value that you want to add. Blue, it's going to color coordinate it. And then this is the red one for E3. Do we want to add those values? Yes. So then you can press the enter key on the keyboard, or you can use the little green check mark up here in the formula bar, either one. Notice what happened. We typed here. We also have information in the formula bar. When your formulas get really, really long, sometimes it's hard to edit it here, so you'll see the entire formula at the top. So press the check mark or enter, and it adds them together and gives you 27. And then formula bar is also good because if we look here, we see 27. We wouldn't know there was a formula behind that unless we look up at the formula bar. The formula stays up there, and you have the answer to the formula down here. Good. All right, number 7. 7 says in G3, enter a formula that multiplies the values in C3 and F3. So we click G3 and we press equal, type C3, and what symbol means multiply? The little asterisk. Good. So you can press the asterisk, which is above the 9 key on the keypad, or Shift 8 on your keyboard. Asterisk sign and then F3. And same thing, you can press Enter or the check mark. I like to use the check mark because with advanced formulas, it makes it easier, more precise. That way you don't mess up the formula. Because it's easy to mess up the formula by clicking around when you're in the formula editing view. All right, good. Number 8. In cell H3, enter a formula that divides D3 by F3. So we're going to H3, press the equal sign. So is it F3 first? Divided by D. It's going to have to be a percent. So it's going to be equal D3 by, just like that. Oops. If you make a mistake, you're going to see this window. And it's going to attempt to make changes to the formula. Press OK, and then you'll change it here. There. So D3 by F3. Division sign, of course, is the slash. And check mark. Okay, here we go. Here is autofill. This is where the black plus comes to play. Everybody got the formulas? Anyone not? Okay. So let's go. It says select F3 by F3 through H3. So click F3. Make sure you have the big white plus. Click and drag across. Once you do that, look at the very, very bottom right corner of your selection. See the little black square? This is called the fill handle. Anytime it says fill, you'll use this. So if you hold the mouse over that little black square, it turns into a black plus. So just click and drag all the way down. It says fill it down to row 14, which is right here. So just click the mouse and drag it straight down and stop there. And release. And it'll automatically fill those formulas in. Go ahead and click right there with the mouse. And then take a look at your formula. Look in the formula bar. It automatically changed it to row 9 with the same formula. So that's what the fill button does, or the fill handle rather. It'll fill it all the way down and adjust the formulas based on the row that changed. Everybody got that one? Questions? Very good. I think this is the last one. Oh no, this one goes 17. I thought they were 10. In cell D15 through G15, enter functions that sum each column. Okay, now we're going to move into functions. You can type in the formulas manual like we just did, but if you're dealing with a range of numbers, you have to use a function. So functions are just like in math. There's the mean, median, mode, sum, min, max, average. So it says in cells D15 through G15, enter functions that sum each column. So we go D15 through G15. And then there is, for the sum, there is an auto sum button that automatically does this for you. So just highlight those. And if we look all the way at the top, see in the editing group, you see that big E right here? This is your auto sum button. Go ahead and click that. And it'll automatically assume you want to add those columns. So there's your totals for those. Number 11 is formatting the ranges C3 through F14 and G3 through F14 with the currency. So let's go C3 through C14, which is all the way down here. I'll go ahead and teach the adjacent columns. If you do that, it says to also do G3 through G14. So you can select both of those at the same time and then change the value. So once you select that, release, then you're going to press Control on the keyboard. Once you press Control, only click where you need to select. So hold the Control, come over to G3 through G14 and select it down. Then you can release everything on the keyboard. Does it say 15? Well, I messed up. If you mess up, you have to click somewhere else and start again, or it's not going to do right. So select here, hold the Control key, then G through 14. Right there. So then it should look like that. Those are called selecting the adjacent cells or adjacent ranges. And then it says with the style currency. So again, we're going up into the styles, the styles group and cell styles. And there's one that says currency. And notice it has the brackets with the 0. Make sure you choose that one, because notice there's one without. So this is the one it wants. Okay, put there. And then it will automatically put a $sign and a comma in the correct place. Then we're going to format the range H3 through H14 with %. So H3, H14, and then, now notice there's a difference between, it says styles, so let's see what's in the style group. Go to styles. This is the % style. Usually it says % number, but the % style 1 decimal place. If you go into numbers group, see the % sign up there? That's what it's talking about. If you're unsure, you hold the mouse and get the tooltip and it says % style. So just click that. If you want to change the decimal place, notice it gives you a % without the decimal. Look to the right of that in the numbers group. It has the arrow and the double circles. This is increasing the decimal, and this will decrease the decimal. So it says with 1 decimal point, so we need to increase it so it has the numbers here, point, and then a single number. Are we following? Okay?
I just made a major mistake.
Okay. Need some help? Then we're going to format the range D15 through G15. D15, G15, it's the sums that we just created. And that's going to be a total cell style, so we're going up to our cell styles, and there's one that says total. Under the titles and headings section, it says total. So click there. Cell, then number 14 says in cell C20, down here in the total. So we're going to C20, it's right next to grits. There's another section in your spreadsheet, just scroll down. Enter a formula that subtracts the value B20 from F3. So how do we do that? What do we start with? Equal, very good. Equal, and then we type our cell. And then subtract. enter. So your formula is F3 minus B20. Right there. Press the check mark, leaves it active. And then it says autofill. All the way down, it says down to 31. Right? Yeah. Another trick to the autofill, if all the information to the left is here and it stops and that's where you want to go, double click the box. So double click that little green square. Make sure that you have the black plus. If you double click, it automatically fills it down to that row.
So it's F3 minus B20, not B20 minus F3.
Right. You didn't get a negative number, right? F3 minus B20. 15, you got 3 more questions. 15 says rename the sheet 1 tab as inventory. So if we look down, here's our tab for our worksheet. Just right click or double click on that. And it lets you edit it. Just type inventory. Capitalization, punctuation is a must. Of course, this period does not belong, but make sure it's a capital I, or the grader will mark it wrong. Press enter. Should accept it as inventory. It says use spelling and grammar check dialog box to correct any errors. So go to the review tab. And there's the spell checker. Mine's all the way over to the left. Press there. Because our cursor's down at the bottom, it asks to begin at the beginning of the sheet. We say yes. And it's correcting dishwashers, so change there and changing benches. I think it's B-N-C-H-E-S, not apostrophe. But there may be a few things for you to go back and change, which will be fun. And then save and close the workbook. So there we go, we'll save it. And then if you watch up here real quick, I'll submit it and download the mistakes, and I'll show you how to make changes so that way you can get 100 on the project. So close it down. And you can follow along too if you want to, it's not gonna hurt. But I'm just gonna do it pretty fast because we have a few minutes left in class. Here, grader assignment, we go to try again, it's gonna pop up that window. Sometimes if you have it open, you'll have to click down here. See, I already had it open, so it's not going to do anything. So I'll click over here, it's right there. It doesn't really matter, as long as you know what file it is. Yes?
Mine didn't save it all.
Did you not enable? Hold tight with it right there. I'll be right there. Then you go to upload completed file, hit browse. Mine was on the desktop. There, and I'm going to upload. Once you upload, click Finish and Submit for grading, return the course. Notice it'll go away out of the to-do list because we've completed it. If we come over here, we will see our grade. Oh, look at that, there's nothing to change. We got 100 on that one. So there isn't anything to do. If you had to change it, you'd press the down arrow here, view submissions, and you could actually see what was wrong like we did. I always download the submission with live comments here. I have one we did the other day, so I can download my mistakes there. It'll show you your mistakes. It'll even mark in the section where you made the mistake. And it tells you to make the changes. And you would make the changes on your original file, not there. So we would go back to where I saved my file. Oops, right here. And make all the changes. All right, that is the lecture there. You have so what's left is the 2 training assignments here, and then you've got that 1 grader project for Monday. So, what's today? Wednesday? So Friday's class, you guys will work on this and those in class, and you should have no problem knocking them out. And you won't have any homework for the weekend.